Good morning. How's everybody doing? I am Bryan Hunter. I'm the president and founder of 937 Payroll, and this is Shannon Seifel. She's our senior HR specialist at 937 Payroll, and welcome to hiring in a post-pandemic world. Shannon, do you want to kind of talk a little bit about what you do at 937?
Yeah. So again, I'm the senior HR specialist. I'm SPHR certified, and I do all of our recruiting and HR consulting for our clients.
So I don't know, how many of you have been hiring recently? One, yeah. Is it tough out there? Yeah. So you're not alone. It's definitely not just you. It's all of us. We're all experiencing it. And there's a couple of factors that are attributing to it. One is the number of applicants that are available. Unemployment is extremely low right now. Ohio's 3.9%, which is lower than where we were pre-pandemic. We also, here specifically in Dayton, there are about 16,600 unemployed people currently, or 4.3% of the unemployment rate. And when you compare that to the amount of open jobs out there right now, that's considerably less than the number of open jobs that we have. So we have more open jobs than we do available unemployed individuals. So that results in a lot of stealing from one employer to the other, which means that you really have to stand out. And not only, are there, this one job board out there, Ohio Needs Jobs, has 37,000 job openings in Dayton, but there's other job boards as well, like Indeed, in addition to that have even more job openings. And then when you think, okay, there's not a lot of unemployed people, there's a lot of open jobs, and then think about here in Dayton specifically, the type of people that you're looking for in comparison to the other large employers that are out here. Kettering Health has 3,100 open jobs as a company right now. And think about what jobs that they're looking for. If what you're looking for is one of these, it's going to be even harder for you. Again, makes it really important for you to stand out. Actually, you want to go back to the last slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Waiting for my cue.
Waiting for me to teeter out. So Shana, what are some things that you're seeing with our clients and out in the marketplace here in Dayton today?
I've definitely seen a trend. I recruit for our clients. There is just a dry patch of candidates. So I've had difficulties finding candidates for our clients. I've had to get really tricky to try to figure out ways to find those people. I've also seen with other companies in Dayton have had to close, and they've cited labor shortage as why they've had to close.
Yeah, and not only obviously there's a lot of headwinds with the market out there, but then just there's a shift to where applicants are. So more applicants are online now than ever. So that makes your online recruiting and hiring strategy extremely important.
So what is a job board? A job board is a website used by employers to advertise their job vacancies to job seekers. Job seekers can use job boards to search for new opportunities in their area or profession. I'm sure everybody's either been on either end of that. You're either looking for someone or you've looked and you've used a job board to do that. Some well-known job board sites are Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster, and Career Builder. My most preferred to use is Indeed, and I'll tell you why. What makes Indeed so special? Indeed is the #1 job site in the world. There are 250 million unique visitors every month. There's over 100 million CVs or resumes on Indeed. It's a job aggregator, so it can pull from other job sites and put it all in one place, which makes it really easy for job seekers to find those open positions. It's free to advertise. You can put your job on there for free. There's also the option to sponsor, but just starting out as a new company, you're saving money. You want to put your job up there for free. Another thing is it is its own built-in applicant tracking system to help you kind of manage the candidates that are coming in. You can place them in categories. And Brian's actually going to talk to you a little bit about what is an applicant tracking system.
Yes, so an applicant tracking system can either be an internal system within your own company, or it can be an online software that you use. And it's used for the electronic handling of recruitment and hiring. Some of those that are well known online are ZipRecruiter, Jazz HR, Workday, Bamboo HR, and it's really a system that's designed to help you organize your overall recruitment strategy. So we use one at 937 Get Hired, 937 Get Call 937 Get Hired. And I'm going to kind of walk through some of the features of our applicant tracking system and show you why you might want to consider using one. So this is our applicant tracking system, and I'm just trying to get the view right. That did not go well.
You got this.
All right, we'll just leave it like that. So our applicant tracking system has 3 different modules within it, and the different applicant tracking systems out there all have kind of different features and benefits to them, but the 3 that our has is hiring, onboarding, and tax credits. And the nice thing about this system is that you can take this applicant from job posting and applying for the job all the way through hiring and onboarding them within your company. When you post a job through here, you can create an unlimited number of job postings for multiple different types of positions, and you can put them and target them in different cities as well. When the job posting goes out, really don't like this view. So when the job posting goes out, it goes out to multiple job boards. Indeed being the main one, and Indeed really is the Google of job boards. So 80% of applicants are on there. But you can also push the job out to other job boards like Monster, CareerBuilder. Job Target has 25,000 different industry-specific job boards. So if you are in the restaurant industry and you want to target towards people who are looking for server cook jobs, there is a job board specifically for the restaurant industry on there. The other nice thing about using an applicant tracking system is that every single job posting that you create ties to a career page that is specific to your company. And on that career page, you're going to have your job posting. And that job posting has a unique URL assigned to it. So you can use social media as well to do a posting on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, and tag that URL on there, driving people, again, back to your initial job posting. So, Shanna, what are you seeing with social media these days?
So Glassdoor has stated that 79% of job seekers are finding their jobs through social media, and 84% of companies are actually hiring through social media.
Yeah. So again, kind of this applicant tracking system, the goal here is to cast a really wide net. So what are all the places that that job posting can be online? Can we be on social media? Can we be on Indeed, on Google Jobs? Have a link on your website. So here's an example. Here's our website, and we have a careers page on our website. When you go here, it opens up our careers page through 937 Get Hired, which has its own URL. And then on here, it lists all the open jobs that we have as a company, and applicant will click on that open job, and they can apply for the job. So it's this aggregator pulling all of these sources together onto the one job board within the applicant tracking system, so we can look through all of the open applicants. So instead of having to go to Indeed, go to Facebook Jobs, go to LinkedIn, they can all be pulled back to one place. So when an applicant comes in through an applicant tracking system, you then have the ability to click on the applicant that came in. You can see their resume. You can view the resume of the person. To look through that. You can rank the candidate. You can rate them. You can share that candidate with other members of your team. You can add notes. You can schedule interviews for that person, virtual, in person. And then you can start to categorize them. So they come in, the new bucket, typically I like to make them promising. Yes, I am interested in this person, or no, decline, get rid of them, and I'll send them an automatic decline email. Then I did a first round interview. I want to have them in for a second round interview, move them over to maybe. And then you decide to make them an offer. You can send them an offer letter directly through the system. And then when you go to hire them, you can hire them, and that automatically kicks that person into your onboarding process where they go electronically complete their W-4 or I-T4 at 99. So if you're making a lot of hires, I would say more than 5 hires a year, then an applicant tracking system is definitely a great investment for your company.
Is this, would you like part-time also, full-time, part-time? Is this mainly anything?
Yeah, full-time, part-time, I mean, it doesn't matter. If you are hiring and you need a way to manage that process, then having an applicant tracking system is an absolutely great way to do that. I mean, with part-time, typically you're going to be looking at maybe more people, and when the quantity increases, then the importance of having that applicant tracking system increases as well. So in addition to having an applicant tracking system, you can choose to post directly onto Indeed. And so why would you do that? Why would you post directly onto Indeed instead of using an applicant tracking system? Well, one reason is definitely cost. If you're not making a lot of hires, then you might want to choose to post to the one place that has the most amount of applicants on it. And there's some great features of using Indeed. So this is an example of job posting that we have on Indeed. We posted this 2 days ago and currently have 11 applicants who have applied for the job. And as these applicants come in and apply, you can then go into the applicant that applied. And you can do the same thing that you're doing in the applicant tracking system. View the resume, see how they've answered pre-screening questions that you've set up for the company. Indeed will tell you if that person's a potential fit for your company, so this person has experience with payroll and customer service. And so we know right away that there's somebody that we want. And then we can use those applicant tracking tools, applicant tracking system tools that Indeed has to start to categorize that employee. I'm interested, I'm not interested, maybe. Also through Indeed, you can invite applicants to apply to the job. You can see matched candidates that match that specific job that you're looking for. And there's all sorts of different kind of tips and tricks that we can use to try to get this job in front of people. So some of the main ones on Indeed are, one, doing the job posting goes out there for free. Then over time, that job's going to just organically kind of drop down in the rankings. So think about an SEO search, right? It's going to be high when it's new, and then it's going to start to drop down as it spends time out there. So we can sponsor the job, and that'll move the job higher up in the rankings as people are looking for it. We can also go out and try to find people And so we can see who the matched candidates are, then we can invite that person to apply. So it's an email going directly to their inbox saying, hey, as an employer, I'm interested in you, you should apply to this job. So we're bringing the job to them. There's also a resume database that you can look through and try to look at their resumes and look for people specifically on there. Your turn.
That's me. All right, so how can you increase your reach? It's very important that you have a job title that matches the job description that you're putting out there. If you have a creative person, try to have a job title that reaches them. Use wording like administrative or specialist or lead if they're a lead. Really want to tweak it to your job posting. Your job posting should be short and sweet and to the point. You want it to be a snapshot of your culture, that your work environment. What is the posting? What is the job? Explain what the job is. Explain what the day-to-day is. We use this for our job postings. We explain what you can do in a typical day in this position. That seems to work for us. I have a lot of people comment when I interview them that they appreciate knowing what the day-to-day looks like. You want to include any benefits you have, so put your best foot forward. Candidates will scroll straight past your job description to see what benefits you have first before they'll even read your job description. So anything that you have, even if it's small, even if it's one paid day off for your birthday, anything like that, any holidays that you offer, just try to put all your benefits out there. Showcase what you're really proud of. We're really proud of that we're a local company. We service local companies, and we appreciate our clients. So when we put in our job description, you could congratulate a craft brewery. That's our culture. We want everybody to know if you fit this job description and you think that's something that you would enjoy, please apply. Multiple locations. If you are looking for somebody in Cincinnati for a job in Dayton, you're casting a wide net. Indeed will only do a 20-mile radius. So if you're thinking that you might want somebody from Columbus who has a different background, or somebody from a different city, try to post in those cities as well. Just cast a wide net. But do make sure that you put where the job actually is at the top of the posting, or next to your benefits, because they're just going to scroll right down to those. So sponsoring a job on Indeed, you'll want to have a monthly budget, or you can also sponsor per candidate. It's pretty expensive to sponsor per candidate. I've seen up to $140 per candidate that applies. They do give you about 72 hours to decline the candidate, but sometimes you can't even reach the candidate by then. So I feel like doing a monthly budget, set yourself on a budget, that works best. But also, when you first post the job, you just post it for free, because you're going to be at the top of the search for probably a week or two, depending on how many people are also putting out job postings for that same position.
No reason to pay for sponsorships to raise yourself in the rankings when you're already at the top of the rankings for the postings new.
Yeah. On Indeed, you can invite applicants to apply. I love this tool. This is how I get a lot of my applicants. It costs about $5. You have to sponsor the job, but you can sponsor it for as little as $5. And then you'll just go into where you showed you to the matched candidates section. You can hand pick who you want to apply. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be a great candidate. It just means you're seeing their background and it may fit in with what you're looking for. But you can, I've invited 200 plus people with just $5. So that's a tip for that. Resume database, that does cost money. Do you remember, is it like $3 grand, I think,
It's,
per year?
you can pay either on an annual basis or on a monthly basis, and then the fee on a monthly basis depends like how many resumes you can get access to, but mostly people was like $250 a month.
So that is different than inviting to apply. When the people are on inviting to apply, they've selected to make their resumes public. So you can just go in and invite those people. The resume database shows people who have chosen not to be public. So you can go see their resumes. There's no names on them unless, is that right?
There's no names unless you pay for the subscription. Once you pay for the subscription, then you get some
Okay.
names.
So that's just 2 tools you can use. I don't use resume database very often because I pretty much get what I need for the $5 sponsorship and going and inviting as many people as I can. It does take time though. You do want to look through the candidates and not just blindly invite everybody, because that is a huge waste of time. So hiring 101, here's some tips for recruiting. So you want to be prepared, prep on the candidate's background and have questions ready to go. And you want to help prepare candidates for interviews with the hiring managers. So you'll want to look through the resume. I'm sure all of you are doing that, but just kind of skim through the background and create a list of questions for each job and use those same set of questions for each person. So you'll want to have essentially like know exactly what you're going to ask before you go in it. And that is important because there are a lot of laws when recruiting, things you cannot ask about. So age, sex, religion. You cannot ask about their prior salary. You can't ask their country of origin or their color. So you'll want to just make yourself aware of things that you cannot ask and stick to your questions. Try not to get off of your questions. You'll want to be respectful, so give candidates your undivided attention. Try not to text while you're in an interview. And then be transparent with the process. Let them know how many interviews they can expect. Is this going to be a 9-interview process? Is this going to be, which we have people who have a 9-interview process. So you'll want to just be very transparent with the process. And then allow your applicants to ask you questions. Just be very open and honest with them, build a rapport with them, and create trust and a genuine connection. Then you'll want to communicate, and this is a difficult one. I hear this all the time. Candidates saying they never heard back from the companies after they applied. Try not to do that. They may want to apply with you in the future, and you'll really want to be able to communicate and get back to them as quickly as possible. And then review your work. Subject your interview process to continuous improvement. Kind of like what you're doing now. Try to attend seminars, look online, try to find the best ways. But also, I think it's important to actually do your own interview process yourself. So if you're going through it and you don't want to answer a question or you think it's redundant, your applicant is also going to think that, so mix it. Just try to make it streamlined.
Question there, do you find many candidates that don't reply back or don't respond?
Absolutely. It goes both ways. We have a lot of that. It's called ghosting. I think everybody has now heard this term. Yes, we have a lot of those as well. But with an applicant tracking system, you can make notes about that. Applicant did not return my call, and then you can, the next time they do apply, you'll be able to see those notes, so you'll know. Probably shouldn't try again, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? Alec, do you? I'm just kidding. He's going through this right now, hiring for us.
Yeah, I would just say, overall, just to recap, if you're going to go start hiring, just have some sort of strategy behind it. Don't just create a job posting and then just hope for the best. So understanding what the title is, what the job posting is, what's in that, what keywords you're using is going to help that search engine optimization of that job posting and the reach that you have. And to your question of ghosting, it does go both ways. applicants are applying and then employers just aren't responding back, and then that just creates this vicious cycle where then the applicant feels like they don't have to respond back to the employer. So just keep that open communication. Have you experienced that?
Oh, sure.
Are you hiring right now?
Yes.
Yeah. How many job postings do you have?
So I've been using LinkedIn more kind of an individual rather than a post, going about it a different way.
Okay.
I enjoy our LinkedIn for non-hourly employees.
Mhm.
We do find more hourly employees are on Indeed.
Yeah.
In regard to like the ATS system, how do they interact with like, you know, your company website or like, you know, like Uninet or JMS or other sorts of stuff like with exporting or communication with all of the paperwork and stuff?
Yeah. You want me to-
Yeah.
Yeah. So your question was on the applicant tracking system.
Like if
How does
they're-
that interact with our company website and then ultimately?
Like, yeah, like payroll, and if they're like putting, filling out their paperwork and stuff for like the onboarding, does that information transfer somewhere else? Like what kind
Yeah.
of communication?
So it depends on which applicant tracking system you're talking about and what payroll system you're talking about, right? So I can give you what ours does specifically, but there are definitely different payroll providers out there that have onboarding systems that are directly built in. We have chosen intentionally to use a third-party applicant tracking system. This 937 Get Hired software that we have licensed does not have an API integration with our payroll software. So what our team does for our clients is we get a notification every time an employee completes their onboarding process, and then we take that employee's information and manually put it into the payroll system.
Okay.
What can be seen as a con, because you don't have the API integration, we actually see as a pro here in Ohio, because we have so many local taxes that have to be set appropriately. You have to worry about the work-in city for the employee and the live-in school district, and then sometimes employees want a courtesy tax withholding based off of where they live. If their rate is higher than where they work, like an example in Springboro only gives you a 1% credit for your work in city, so you always owe an extra 0.5% to the city of Springboro at the end of the year. So a payroll provider can help navigate through those complexities as you're taking the employee from completing their onboarding process to implementing them within the payroll system. But there are a lot of payroll companies out there that have those built in when it actually just comes in via API. ADP has one that is like a collaborative onboarding process where you send an email out to the employee early on and they do the direct deposit information and maybe their address, but they're not completing the I-9 on there, and that has to happen outside. Paychex has one that's totally inclusive, includes all of those documents, and then the information goes directly in. So I think it's important to think through what's important to you. Do I want it to be an API connection? Do I not necessarily care about that as much, but just want to make sure that I have the right features within my onboarding process? Yeah.
And then with this system, does it, like, is it a repository for all of the paperwork that they have filled out for like when you started it and all of the new hires, or did you guys go in and like keep all of your employees' paperwork in this one system and then like it's manually transferred over into like the other system?
Yeah,
Like,
let me just change this for you. All right, that's gonna help me. So this is our version, and then I'm just gonna show you guys this demo real quick. So this is the demo of some of the full capabilities of the system. You can see on the onboarding section right here, when an employee comes in and completes their onboarding, you can view their details, and it has it kind of broken out, it's informational, and then there's documents in here. And you can download their W-4, their I-2-4, their I-9 anytime you want. And they can also upload information on an ongoing basis. So if it's a restaurant, you might need a serve safe certification for that employee, you can upload that to them. In my company, we have payroll certifications that people are getting on a annual or every 3 years. They'll renew their certification, and I can upload that information to the system there. You can also request information from somebody. So say you have delivery drivers and you need to get an updated driver's license for that person. You could request a driver's license from them. So you can add some custom pieces to this, and you can also use some of the default pieces to this as well. It also allows you to do background checks on the individual, the system as well.
Okay, but you have all of your employees in this system?
Yes.
Okay.
All the new hires, existing hires are all in there. And this system is designed to be a hiring system. So it's really about where their information was when they first came on board. And then if there's any certifications and documents you want to upload, you can keep that in there as well. The updated W-4, I-2-4 information for federal and state tax withholding, or updated addresses, direct deposit information, we keep all of that directly in the payroll system itself. And then employees have employee online access to the payroll system to be able to log in and change their own direct deposit information, update their W-4, I-2-4 information within there, which helps with HR and time saving. So, yeah. Anybody else?
I have a question/comment. Can you talk about the benefits of like a pre-employment quiz and the usefulness of that, I guess, in the hiring process?
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to pull up Indeed?
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah. So there's two ways to do this. First, on Indeed, you can add pre-screening questions. Do you have any? Yeah, there you go. Are you willing to commute to Dayton? How many years of experience do you have? How many years of customer service experience do you have? You can add pretty much anything, but you want to be careful that you only add things that pertain to the actual job description, and try to stay away from anything that could be discriminatory. Do not ask, do you have any children? Do you have daycare? Can't ask anything like that. So we use pre-screening questions just to weed out certain candidates who may not fit our 2-year requirement. If you don't have 2 years, we require you to have 2 years, we're going to screen you out. And Indeed, you can make that a deal breaker, and you won't even see their resume if you make it a deal breaker. So those people who have 0 experience or 6 months won't even come through. We also have pre-screening tests for after we've met with you, we've had our in-person interview, and we want to make sure that you can do this job. So we created a test just to kind of see where you're at in your skills with the position, and we found that very useful. It's been very helpful not hiring the wrong candidates.
That pre-employment quiz has questions around customer service and basic payroll knowledge, and by asking the same questions to all of our applicants, we can get some baseline on exactly what their skill levels are and how they're going to respond to a customer email. It's so hard in an interview process to really know who you've got in front of you. So the more things that you can do to help you better understand what that person is going to be like when they start working for you, the better it's going to be for you, the less turnover you're going to have, the less bad hires you're going to make.
Is there a particular order on your job postings that you prioritize different categories, like advertising, hey, first, here's our benefits, here's our culture, like, what do you?
That's really up to you. I have seen it all ways. I've seen people start out with, this is what we offer you, and then here's the job. Because again, they're going to scroll through right to the benefits. But this is our job description. We describe ourselves at the top. You know, maybe you will take phone calls all day. You don't like that. You're not going to apply. I don't want to take phone calls. Forget it. I'm out. And then we kind of tell you what a typical day includes, and then this job maybe for you if you enjoy solving problems. So we kind of break it down like that, and then we do have our benefits on there as well. But yeah, there you go. Job requirements. It'd be great if you had a bachelor's degree or 2 years of related experience, and then the benefits at the bottom, which is pretty typical. But it's up to you. Find what works for you and go with that.
Yeah, definitely, create job posting, and then if you're having great results, stick with it. If you're not having great results, then start to tweak it a little bit. And I always tell my clients that this is not a, hey, we're gonna get this right necessarily the first time that we have a job posting for you, but we're gonna stick with it, we're gonna continue to tweak it until we get results. And there's all these different levers that you can pull, there's all these different tools, tips that you can implement, and it's just a matter of coming up with the right combination for you. And if a lot of clients don't want to display what the compensation is, right? That's a big question they get. Should we show how much that is? And my opinion has always been yes, because I feel like that level of transparency allows the right people to apply to the job as much for us as it is for them. And then you're not wasting your time either by applying for this job. So, but everybody has different opinions on that, so that might not be for you.
Like in a situation where there's a range of pay, or you have current employees who can see this and you don't want them to see what they're paying this new position, those are instances where you wouldn't put the compensation on there. I am a part of a huge group of HR professionals. I can tell you 90% of them are begging people to put their salary ranges in there.
Tell me about the range. Like, why wouldn't you put it if it's a range? Because somebody's always going to ask for the range. Like, most jobs I've experienced as hiring for are almost always a range of where we'd start somebody. So I guess say more about that.
Sure. That is just something that I've seen, again, in the group, is they don't want their current employees to even see the salary of this position. Mm-hmm. They're not putting it on there.
No, that makes sense. I guess you said if you have a range. Like,
no, you can put a range on there.
Oh,
if you're willing to put your salary on there, go ahead and put a range. We put a range all the time.
Okay.
If I'm understanding your question, are you asking why would you not put a range, whereas, because you said a lot of times you do see a range?
I feel like what my experience when we've hired has usually been like we have a range in mind versus like no matter who comes through, we're gonna start at this number,
Yeah.
So I thought I had heard you say not to put a range, and so I was curious if that meant like you needed to have a specific number versus a range.
No, range is totally fine. Just
range
if you're comfortable having it on there, then yes, definitely put it.
And I think it just comes back to your personal hiring strategy. So for us, we are looking for people to come in as an entry-level position within the company. We're not looking necessarily for a senior payroll specialist to hire today. So if somebody came in, top end of a senior payroll specialist might be $60,000 a year. We're just not prepared to hire that type of person right now because we already have experienced payroll specialists within our company. So it's as much of a budgetary thing as it is the type of person that you're willing to hire. We've talked internally about maybe over time we're going to have 3 different job postings. One for entry level, one for kind of we've been here for a year or 2, and then one for like a senior payroll specialist as well. Conversely, instead of having 3 different job postings, we could just have a range, 40 to 60, let everybody apply, and then we can tell them this is the job that we feel that you would fit, here's the level that we feel that you're at, and here's what we're going to offer you. So it's really just a personal preference.
And we do tweak our job descriptions a lot based on what our client is, but what's working and what's not working. So a lot of people have realized that they're not paying enough and they're not getting the quality candidates that they're looking for, and you're asking for 5 years of experience, but you're not paying for 5 years of experience. And so we have to tweak it just to try to fit and get those candidates in.
Do you find that with like putting the range, it's helpful to say compensation depends on the level of experience and education and stuff? along with that, or do you
Yes.
feel like people assume that that's the case and that conversation happens in like the negotiation and the offer stage of interviewing?
Yeah, I believe that every single posting that I've made that has a range says depending upon experience. Yeah.
I have another question.
Sure.
So sorry.
No,
I don't want to monopolize and like keep asking. This one is about approaching the issue of like citizenship and everything. I've obviously gone about it in very legal, roundabout ways, waiting for them to like offer information. But like U.S. only citizenship is necessary in order to gain a clearance, which is,
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
for all of the positions we're hiring for. So do you have a strategy and how best to address that?
Sure.
I have pre-screening questions, but people answer that and don't actually know what they're saying. Like, yes, I can get a clearance. They don't know
Okay.
what that means.
So really the only thing you can ask is, are you eligible or
Do you have the
Are you
right to work in the
authorized to
US?
work in the
yes.
US?
You cannot ask where they're from, you cannot ask other types of questions. You
Yeah.
can say, are you legally allowed to work in the United States? But you can ask for a clearance, you can put that security clearance, must be able to obtain a security clearance.
And I've done that and people have said yes and then like they're not actually. So I was just wondering like if any sort of like conversation starters or things beyond that
Yeah,
like.
so I actually had somebody apply for a job here and they were living in Qatar. And they did check, yes, I am eligible to work in the United States, and they were not. And so I just had to let them know that we do not sponsor, this job does not sponsor visas or anything, so we wouldn't be able to hire them based on the fact that we cannot sponsor a visa.
I would think I used to do exactly that.
Yeah.
And it's the issue of, people think when you ask, can you obtain a security clearance, they think, can I pass a background check?
Yeah.
And that's not.
Yeah.
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 And then like even people who have dual citizenship, you're not able to verify that until like I-9.
Yeah.
So like you're just in limbo thinking you're hiring this person until that point.
Yeah.
And then it's like unfortunately, like,
It sounds like you're doing the right thing though, because if they can't, you just can't hire them. You cannot hire somebody if they cannot pass their I-9 citizenship. You just can't do it. So it sounds like you're doing the right thing.
Would you be able to, would it be legal to expand on the requirements to get clearance within that question? So if you have a pre-screening question that says, are you able to obtain security clearance, and then here are the requirements of that, is that still a legal question? And one of those line items would be like, I guess, I don't know the requirements, but is a citizen of
Proof
the
of
United States
citizenship.
or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah, and like I've sent links like here, if you don't understand what this is, here's more information. I just didn't know if you, like if you guys had like a set sort of HR way to, but I like that in the posting and listing some of those things.
You just have to be careful not to ask.
Yes.
What is your country of origin? What, well, I guess you could ask what languages they speak, but don't ask where they're from.
One thing, and I don't know if this necessarily fixes your problem because it is towards the end of the process after you've made an offer and you're starting to onboard them, but have you heard of E-Verify? So E-Verify is Department of Homeland Security free website that allows you to verify social security number for an individual. By having a social security number, you in fact have a right to work in the United States. So if you're over here on a visa, you should still be getting a social security number in order to work. So it's pretty cut and dry. You have a social security number, you have the right to work in the US in most cases. So our applicant tracking system has built into it E-Verify, which allows for the system to automatically send out, it'll enroll you in the E-Verify program, and then when you onboard the employee, it'll send that employee's information to E-Verify and then tell you whether or not they passed that check.
Okay, but there's no way to do E-Verify like as you're interviewing, it's only after
No,
you've made the offer.
you're not supposed to be making initial hiring decisions based on that information. And you're not allowed to terminate their hiring if it's like pending non-confirmation. You have to actually take a test when you sign up for U-Verify that explains what the different results mean and what you can and can't do based on those results. So, yeah, it's, like I said, I don't know that necessarily fixes your problem, but it's another thing that you can do to help you before you actually bring them in for the first day of work.
You might look for whether it's a website or something that talks about security clearance requirements and have a link to that. It's not that you're saying it or asking it.
It's just like,
But here's how you get a security clearance, or what's required to obtain that. Because I know you're looking for U.S. citizen and a green card holder is not going to reach your security clearance level achieving.
thank you guys.
Yeah.
It's reassuring to know that I am going about it in the right way,
Yeah.
because I've gotten a lot of pushback from my engineers. Well, why can't we ask this? And I'm like, guys,
Oh,
please,
man.
like.
Let me tell you a story.
And so I'm like constantly fighting this battle of we're doing this right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out a different way, but.
There's also continuing education webinars that you can watch regarding I-9 and hiring practices in malls. Just tread lightly when I tell them this all the time. I tell everybody, like, there are things you just cannot ask. These are those things. Don't ask them. So just make sure that you know those laws. It's very, very important.
Can I ask a question on a different topic from what you said earlier about what not to ask? You mentioned you can't ask about prior salary. Is
Correct.
that like universal? You can't, because
No,
you
I
used to be
don't.
able to ask that. Okay.
No, I think it was 2020 that they put that in, but you cannot ask a prior salary. You can only ask, what are you looking to make in this position? But you
Okay.
cannot ask, what did you make at your previous position?
Okay, because I think there's wording on a form that a company I work with that says like, how does it word it? I think it's current, it may be current compensation. So
No.
that would be a no.
I would say
As
no.
of 2020, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
You
interesting.
can look up the law. I can't recall, as a best practice, do not ask the salary,
Yeah.
their previous salary. But, yeah, if you look it up, I think it was in 2020, but it may be just certain areas.
That's what I thought. I think I had seen something about it being in Cincinnati,
Yeah.
but
Just don't do it, man. Don't do it. Yeah, I don't mess with those types of things. If I know it's out there, I just don't ask it. I've had a lot of webinars where I've talked with employment attorneys, and those are things that they're saying. Just steer clear.
thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any suggestions for like free resources like the webinars or getting like a list of the questions you cannot ask or?
Ohio actually has that. If you just Google Ohio employment laws, I think there's like a whole website where you can click through links and it'll take you to different sections, what you should and shouldn't ask. We use my CPE. It's for me to continue my education for my SPHR certification, and it's great. I love it. It's super helpful. There's even things about as new as the Inflation Act on there, so things are current and it's very helpful. And I think it's like $100 a year. And you can have unlimited CDs on there.
Anybody else? We're out of time. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. If you guys have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at 937-PAYROLL. We're more than happy to sit down and have a conversation. Thanks.